I just had a thought, so I'll just run with it. um, Entitlement. Let's go with that. Entitlement. Um, so something I do sometimes. I like shaving a haircut. We'll soon see. Uh, Entitlement on youngsters in a first world nation such as thus. Um, One of the interesting things portrayed by teenagers in television and the media is their sense of incredible entitlement. Such as in the 90s, we had, well, in the 2000s, we had the Fresh Prince. Late 90s, early 2000s. In the 90s, we had, what's his name? The Eddie Winslow. I believe his name was. Yes, Eddie Winslow from Family Matters. He always had this sense of entitlement. You know, he was a teenager. He was used to just kind of getting what he wanted at times. He had to learn that, the concept of no and limitations, and you can't just do whatever you want. Yes, it is a free nation, but there are some things you just can't do. There are rules to follow by. Um, and some basic common sense when your father is a cop, but he's young. So, and much like Theo before him, Theo Huxtable from the Bill Cosby Show, or The Cosby Show, because there's a difference. There's the Bill Cosby Show, then there was The Cosby Show, just so you know. Yeah. Both starring, who else? Bill Cosby. Anywho, so yes, the sense of entitlement uh, proliferating through our culture that shows a lot of teenagers growing up in this fine nation of ours is, they take things for granted. And I remember that line in, of all things, the extremely comical spy thriller. Uh, what was it again? Not Spies Like Us. No, it was. Oh, with Val Kilmer. It was starring Val Kilmer. Oh, what was it called? It's right here. It was called Top Secret. That's what it was. Top Secret. There's a lot of titles in my head, so please bear with. Uh, so there's dialogue exchange between our lead characters when they first meet, when they dance together in that weird, funny dance. And I don't know if it's actually based on anything real. They kind of made half of it up or whatever. But they're talking about what it means to be American and what it means to be a foreigner, looking at Americans, especially when you're being oppressed and dealing with war and stuff. She says, but you don't know what it's like to have to fight for it when you feel that Americans are just taking their freedom for granted. You know, and he retorts with saying, well, that's not fair. One time we had to go to my class had to spend a whole week in Philadelphia or something like that. And it's like, that's like supposed to make it better somehow. So I didn't realize what that meant 100% growing up until much, much later on, where it's like, yes, a lot of kids take their freedom for granted. They believe they feel entitled because the first 10 years of any American child's, well, upper and middle classes, you know, life is they're receiving a lot. And then as time goes on, that slowly reverses when life starts to ask things of them. And that's when life gets difficult because now you're being asked to do things. You're required to do things. You're expected to do things. And that can get rather annoying sometimes. But yes, um, I came across some kids, teenagers, 16, 17 year olds, because I'm lost with half my deliveries. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this here? I don't know. Help me. And it's like, here's $5 for helping me when this kaleidoscope of apartments I have to comb through. So it's like, here's $5 for, thanks. And they're like, no, 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 that's all right. We choose not to accept $5. Like, okay. Well, have fun with that in 5 to 10 years when people start, when your roles start to reverse, and then you're like, gee, I sure miss those days when people just gave us money, We're doing next to nothing, really. Yeah, even we miss those days when people would smile at you when you walk into a room. But anyway, um, in the South Park episode about COVID, the not the time traveling one, the one before that, the reason one of the boys, I forget what his name, Stan, I think his name was Stan. He was so determined to get Butters his Build-A-Bear was because he wants something to go right in all this. It's been 18 months. It's like, why can't we get past this? Like, we're still in lockdown. We're still dealing with this, being told what to do, where, what, when, where. Their lives have been, well, basically they're prisoners. The lives have been, not categorized, but like, scheduled. Borders and lines have been crossed. Who to talk to, what to do, when, So when you take away his freedoms, and a guy who's saying, I choose to be bored now if I god dang wish, you take a lot of that freedom of choice on a daily basis away for a year and a half. Yeah, that's gonna screw with people. Trust me, COVID was not exactly a walk in a park for me either. I thought it would last only the first year. Silly me. But yeah, so his his mental breakdown at the end, where he couldn't get the Build-A-Bear stuff properly. He says he wants his life back. He wants his freedom. He wants to laugh and enjoy. Not be caged in. And that was probably a feeling for a lot of Americans and a lot of people around the world, honestly, particularly for Americans, because for the first time in their life, first time in our society, we're on lockdown for almost indefinitely. It's like, well, when? It's like, when is it going to end? Probably in the next year? Year after that? The year after that? Like, when does this end? When does this bullshit end and we can go back to the way things were? And that's the thing. No one knew the answer to that. Not really. We hoped it was sooner rather than later. And so to have people have their freedoms of, well, I choose to be bored now if I can. If I have a choice, then I'll just choose to be bored. Or I choose to do whatever I want with my free time. But outside of that, if you have your work and your play, and then suddenly your play is taken away from you, then all that's left is work and boredom. Means, what, you mean I'm just stuck here not doing what I want until I have to go back to work again? Yeah. Well, that's annoying. So his emotional breakdown makes a lot of sense, and it's probably echoing or reflecting a lot of the feelings around the world of youngsters feeling caged in, feeling, trapped in this societal prison that the world had to make of itself to deal with the pandemic. I find it rather interesting that every time we have a worldwide catastrophe or something like that, that people are rather shocked that, wait, we have to do that now? We have to, do basic necessity? Like, yes. What was your first clue? And it's like, oh, we really shouldn't leave our guard down that it's like a small town. Like, yeah, we leave our doors unlocked at night, It's like, right. Sure. It's just, societies get complacent when they're not dealing with the problem at hand. Until they do, and then it's like, oh, that's the standard now. We just do that. You know, yeah, and it's like, I mean, you weren't doing that this whole time? No. Why should we? Because it's a sign of security? Just a little bit? You know, trying to mitigate those X factors? And psychopaths? You know, and mass murderers just, saying, well, I mean, we could have done that this entire time, but honestly, that just takes up too much work. You know, making sure the banks don't screw us over, making sure the doors on, pilot cabins are secured with rather pretty good and sturdy locks. You know, those things. We do that now. It's like, well, yeah, sure. After many people have died, we learned those lessons, and it's like, really, we had to. It's like a couple of thousand people had to die for the nation to say, yeah, now we'll do that. Now we'll make that, a standard, a rule of thumb, you know. And it just kind of bugs me that a nation as great as ours has to still learn lessons in safety and basic security. Get so used in the confines of the honor system. Quote Jerry Seinfeld. So, yeah. We get used to the way of living as Americans. Upper middle class. We like our little lives. They're nice. Until something comes along and disrupts that life for a good while. And then it all just kind of frays a bit. They're never fun. No one's having fun during any of this. I didn't have fun in any of these catastrophes. I didn't have fun. No one had fun. It's just a life lesson. Apparently, it just needed to be learned the hard way. Apparently. Kind of wish we would have gotten this kind of, these ideas, and things set up. Lord knows what we could have prevented, But so many people. That's why I don't like politics. It just seems so inefficient, It's like, well, we need to do the right thing. Well, that depends. Is that the right thing for all of us? Or is that just the right thing for just a few? The best thing for a few. It's like, It always seems to come out that way. It's like, well, we can either make a lot of rich bastards even richer, or we could help the masses. Gee, I wonder what would happen. That's why in my early 20s, I just threw my hands up on the whole damn thing. Where it's like, it's inefficient, it barely does anything it's supposed to do, and it completely and utterly throws money out the window on a war that's not going to happen. And it's like, why are you spending money on defense? No one's going to invade us. I really doubt anyone's going to have a storm of, any of the beaches on the California coast. So, yeah, sure, we'll just show up and just start invading all 1,000 of us. It's like, right, yeah, you do that. And see how far you get. It's like, really? Really? So they spent thousands and millions and bajillions of dollars on, military defense, and all the while, it's all the things we do to ourselves and other people do to us that are really, 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 the things you should defend against. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off topic. entitlement, right? I think, I'm just putting it out there, I think what we should have in a household. So when I grew up, I didn't know anything about money, how much we made, how much we spent on a month. I think we need a pad. Let's see. Here. Get a tablet like this. Get a tablet and mount it on the wall. Now, on the tablet, there will be a green graph and a red graph. Now, you'll have an app. So much like a wall clock, it will be a tablet clock thing, and it will show, it will be specially made just to show, not access, but just show your account balance in graphs. So it has a number on the bottom and it has the big graph, so the kids down at the bottom on the floor can see it on a daily basis. So when they see, oh wait, we just got paid, and then, oh, water bill, cable, utilities, you'll see a charge of $20, charge of $200. You'll see these charges go up and you see the graph go down. This will be your financial capability of the month. So as the kids grow up, they'll see, oh, we only have so much. Now, if they have a visual representation, it's easier for them to understand, oh, we are not very rich. We can only do so much. To have a visual aid like that will help them appreciate the concept of the value of a dollar. Because it ain't the 50s anymore, kids. It's a completely different time, but generations, when they grow up and become of age, need to know the concept of money. And, this sense of entitlement ain't gonna work. Because when they have to go and sally forth into the wild blue yonder and have to do a job, they realize, oh wait, work is hard. It's like, yes it is. It's a lot of hard work. I understood that at a slightly earlier age when I would go help my dad clean lawns. He was between, well, actually no, he finished gigs at that point. Construction worker work is apparently only available when there is actual construction to be had. So after building a few buildings, just like my Uncle Robert who had passed, once the work is done, your job is done. Unless there's another job, another building needs to go up afterwards, you're kind of stuck. So, he would go and clean lawns and stuff, and I would help him. So I understand what the concept of hard work is. So having, let me change that out. So having armed with that information, I know I would have been a lot better off understanding that concept. Because for many a year, I never thought to pay for myself to go to the movies. I never thought how much does it cost, weekly to go do something, or monthly to pay something, balance all those spinning plates, That's something I never had to think about until I had to, balance your checkbook. It ain't easy, kids. Just ain't easy. And you gotta pay the man, and all those dang taxes. It's one of the yearly battles I have to deal with. Is like, oh wait, now I gotta pay taxes. It's like, there's $3,000. It's like, what $3,000? I don't. Well, I could maybe have. You expect me to have $3,000? It's like, well, yeah. You're supposed to. Oh, it's like, sure, I'll just pull that out of my ass. But luckily, by the skin of my teeth, I managed to get $3,000 and still not go into debt on or delinquency on any of my payments, thankfully. But yeah. So having done all that learning and hard work, you learn, and it would be easier if I knew of that concept beforehand. So I think, as an idea for helping with that sense of entitlement, is to help them be aware of what the economy looks like, the household economy, what goes in, what goes out, and to what, help teach them about this, you know. So it's not just this foreign concept, and stop trying to protect children from the world. It's like we got to protect them from, what was that I tried to say? It's like trying to protect children from seeing the dead body in the road. No, he's sleeping. There are flies all over him, even in his eyes. He's sleeping. And then later on, as you grow up, goes, no, you're going to squat there and you're going to stare at that dead body for the next 2 hours. See you at lunch. This guy is really getting a bit ripe. But I got to stare at it. That's what life expects of me. Or society or whatever. It's like, oh, now they have you stare at the dead body. It's like, yeah, I remember it being a lot different. I remember people used to protect me from things like this. And it's like, no. We protected you because we thought it would be the best for you at the time. Now that you're an adult or more grown up, yeah, I don't really feel like protecting you from anything. This is life. It sucks. Get used to it, And it's like, well, that's a real jerk thing to kind of, feel from somebody. It's this sense of, like, disenchantment or whatever, There's, again, role reversal of, you used to protect me from things, and now you're telling me to stare at the dead body. It's like, yeah, because now you need to learn what life is. Like, why do you need to learn that now? Before, things were great. Now, all of a sudden, life is hard and difficult and overly complicated. And it's like, do I have to be dragged over these, over the sharp rocks and broken glass? Is that really necessary? You feel at the time. And it was all like, I couldn't care. And that's what a lot of what teenagers feel is the world's trying to show us saying, I couldn't care less. Well, thank you for your compassion. But yeah, we need to educate kids from the beginning of what your household income is, so they can understand what that means to be responsible. We can't, son. See, we only got $20 left in the bank, and we got to make that last until Friday, which is 4 days from now, so we can spend only $5 a day. How to make that last. And you ask them, all right, what's a good price? That's a good thing. Take them to the store with $20 and say, hey, how would we make that last? And don't say candy. Yes, that's the cheapest thing here, but no, we cannot insist on that. Sorry. So my grandmother somehow manages to do that. I have no clue how I've never seen her in the kitchen. Maybe twice, but we were there. But I have no idea. I think she was bedridden. I never really seen her get up. But she somehow walks past my door to go to the kitchen somehow. And it's like, for a long time there, I thought, is she just solely subsisting on that a giant bag of M&Ms under her bed for like years? It's like, I don't understand this. But anyway, we need to educate our youngsters on how to handle school shootings, taxes, and school shootings, and the bullying, cancel culture, recession, unemployment, uh, premature childbirth, getting pregnant before before your needed time, all that fun stuff about life. We got to teach them these things. Otherwise, they grow up thinking, what consequence? Oh, you mean there's consequence, right? Ugh, It's like, well, no one told me this. It's like, well, we're telling you now. Why couldn't you tell me before? Well, we didn't think you needed to know that. They do. Trust me. Children need to be known and taught things at least 5 to 10 years sooner so they can understand these things. So when they get there, they understand, this is what they're talking about, or something. Like, try something, because a lot of this shit just ain't working. It just ain't. It just ain't. Sorry, are not working. So yeah, those are my grievances. Just getting them out there, you know. Interesting. He was able to combine a rant of a child's sense of entitlement with 9/11 and the stock market crash of '08 or '07 or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So that's about everything. Lessons learned. Lessons learned. I guess I'll title this one. As if you don't learn your lessons, if you don't pass on that knowledge, the next generation is doomed to repeat it because they don't know. So they have to learn that lesson the hard way. We have empires rise and fall. We've done advanced technology, and yet we just cannot, for the life of us, just do the right thing. It's easy to be complacent and lazy and think you do enough, but there's always more you can do. Always more you can do. There was a kid, but the car crash I had taped after the fact. I only heard it, and then I went and taped a few seconds of it, which got 10,000 views. What? There was a little kid there who was crying, and I needed to cross the street because I needed to deliver one of my pharmaceutical packages, and the kid was crying, and I turned to him before I went, and I said, it's okay. Like a nightmare, this too shall fade. It'll be alright. If I had a bit more time, probably should have told him that I was in a traffic accident too once upon a time, and I turned out okay. It'll be alright. It'll be okay. Probably should have said that last part too, but kind of in a hurry. It was a Friday, and I only had so much time to do anything because I got to go and deliver pizzas, so I can't exactly dilly-dally, So, and the reason I walked instead of drove is because that accident was right in the intersection of where I needed to go. So, and the next delivery was just like right there. They're like right down the street from each other. So, I'm pretty sure the kid is doing better, I would imagine. Alright, just wanted to get that out. Take care, all, and hope this has, inspired you. Who knows? Maybe in a couple of years we'll see those wall-mounted app readings of your balance, so that households will know. Okay, we only have so much to spend. Learn to live within your means. Understand what that means. So when they grow up, they'll be better at it. All right. Well, take care, all. See you next time. Bye.